Strategically, I can get it right. I'm gonna go where the winners go. Selling ain't an option, no, it ain't in my blood. All I do is try to come.
All right, all right, all right. Happy Monday. It is Monday. Can you believe it? All over again. We are back here on Mondays behind the mic. This is the place where we go beyond surface level topics in relationships. This space provides us all with an opportunity to delve into more personal or profound aspects of our lives. So thank you for returning. Thank you for our faithful followers. Thank you all. If this is your first time, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hey, co-host, how you doing over there? How's your Monday going?
I am doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Monday was Monday. He was giving Monday, even though I was off. Monday was Monday.
Well, with that being said, we want to say happy MLK Day to everyone out there. And I just want to read one of his quotes. It says, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter." So just happy MLK Day.
Thank you for that. Happy MLK Day. Yeah, y'all should be happy because you got a day off. I even got a discount. So yeah, working out very well so far. So again, thank you for being here. As a disclaimer, we talk from our personal experiences in the hopes that it would push someone past their pain to get help into a pleasurable life and just joy and happiness. So house rules. Our house rule here on Harlem Girls Mondays behind the mic is respect, respect, respect. I would like to state that if disrespect is displayed in the chat or on the platform, unfortunately, we will have to silence you or remove you. Co host, so yeah, we kind of have a hot topic tonight. Anything you want to talk about before we start, before we get into it?
Well,
Because talking about what's love got to do with it, but go ahead.
I just want to make sure that people like, share, and subscribe before we get into the topic. So let me know when we're ready.
I say go for it. And when our stragglers come in or our latecomers, because we know it's Monday and people take time out to be, so they could be traveling, whatever that looks like. We'll do a recap as everybody trickles in. So let's just get started.
All right. So, all right, lovebirds and wallet watchers, let's get real. Does love really make the world go round, or is it money pulling the strings? Welcome to our next segment. What's love got to do with it? We're diving into the wild world of prenups, power plays, and pricey gifts. Because let's face it, whether it's a $5 coffee date or a $5 million yacht, love and money have been in a complicated relationship forever. So, is splurging on your sweetheart a love language or just a luxury flex? That's good. What do you think?
That's interesting. I think depending on what your love language is, if you even know what your love language is, because some can be gifts. I know somebody, right next to me, I know her love language, so some is gifts, affirmations. Where it really depends on the individual. Now, if you're using it as a tool, like we were talking about last week, as a transaction, then it gets a little sticky, it gets a little murky because we really don't know what's behind it, right?
True.
So, yeah, what do you think before we even go any
Oh,
deeper?
I think I agree. It depends on the person in terms of, is it a flex? I mean, if who said it is not tricking if you got it. So, if you have it and that's fine, but if you're just doing it as to just show off, then no. And then I think you also need to know the person's love language, right? Because to your point, it could be acts of service, it could be gifts, it could be quality time. So I think people just need to understand what is the love language, because to some people that could be a total turnoff.
Yeah, and that's a good point. But I know sometimes I know people that got caught up in the luxury flex, and then you stuck in a relationship you don't want to be in.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we have people talking. They talking, they talking. Let's see.
So Bravo with Sheila said, blessing beautiful ladies from Ghana. Uh, just wanted to say, stay up to say hello. Have a great show. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't even know what time it is over there, but thank you, thank you.
Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie. She says, good evening, ladies.
Thanks for being here, Stephanie. And as you can see tonight, we're talking about what's love got to do with it. And Steph, you're always in. Look, I just nicknamed you Steph. You're always in. Share what you want to share. Later on we'll drop the link if you want to come on up and talk to us. But let's get right into it. Okay, so let's start at cultural perspectives, money and love. Different cultures have varied traditionally and expectations when it comes to love and finances. These practices reflect deeper cultural values about relationships, gender roles, and community. So dowries and bride prices. Now that goes way, way back. I think it's still going on, right? So dowries and bride prices are financial exchanges tied to marriage, often symbolizing commitment and stability, but also criticized for commodifying relationships. Before I go further, what do you think about
I think, okay, I think in some instances it's a good thing because you can't take on, and in a lot of those cultures they have multiple wives, so you can only take on what you can afford. Now that is not our culture in the US, but understanding that relationships and finances is the number, I believe it's number two reason why most couples get divorced in the United States.
that? Yeah, Stephanie is laughing. Well, Steph, listen, Steph, I'm gonna call you Steph from now on if that's okay with you. If it's not, you could just tell me no, like call me by my whole entire government, and I will do so. So to your point, let's get some statistics, right? So according to encyclopedia.com, approximately 66% of cultures practice bride price, while only about 3% engage in dowry payments. Regions like South Asia, dowries involve the bride's family providing assets to the groom's family. And for bride pricing in Thailand, the bride price paid during the engagement often includes cash, gold, and sometimes a diamond ring. This tradition demonstrates the groom's financial capability to support the bride and her family. So I guess daddy said, listen, I give you my daughter, I need to make sure everything is lined up because it is true. It's even in the Bible. If you take a woman or a child away, because in some countries, there's different age limits, you have to be able to provide.
Um,
Well, at
def-
least that way is no guessing.
Absolutely. I think a part of it is that father is saying, if you can't provide for my daughter in the way in which the level in which she is used to, then you can't afford my child. And I think what happens in our culture, for the most part, if you have the absentee fathers, there's no one who's setting the standard to say, no, if you can't afford her, leave her here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not all, but there are, because that is a, especially I would say in a lot of people of color, you may not have the father there to be able to say, how can you take care of my daughter? What is the level in which you can take care of my daughter? um, so you don't have that balance. So I think that it's a good thing, because you want your child to be financially secure. It's not a money thing like, oh, I'm only marrying for money. No, can you afford to take care of me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Look at, hey, Janelle.
Hey,
How are you? Okay, I
Steph-
got the green light. All right, Steph. I can call you Steph. All right, I got the green light to call you Steph. I love it. Hey, T.
hey T, how are you?
T is our co-host from ATL. Sometimes he comes up, sometimes he's in the chat, but he keeps it flowing. He helps give the male's perspective. And as you're just joining in, we're talking about what's love got to do with it. We did a recap. We were talking about the different cultures pertaining to money and love. Okay, so co-host, let's just keep it going.
Okay, so according to Financial Times, younger generations, particularly Gen Z, are increasingly open about discussing personal finances early in a relationship. This trend, known as the cash candid dating, reflects a shift towards financial transparency, contrasting with older generations who often consider such topics as taboo. So, what do you think about that?
First of all, they always coming out with a terminology. Now we got to learn about cash candid dating. And Lord have mercy. It is always something new, but it's good because it gives us something to talk about and keep up with these Gen Zs. I think this is good in terms of a seasoned saints with a little salt and pepper and paprika and stuff on us because we know the Gen Z and the millennials, they get straight to the point. They're not
This
wasting time. They're not going 6 months in trying to figure out where it's going. They probably give you about a good 3 weeks and say, I'm done. But if you're serious about dating and where you want to go in life, I think this is good because it helps save time. And I say time is the one commodity that you cannot get back. And I don't allow anybody to waste mine. So I think this is a good thing. Total transparency. No, it's not a gold digger because we have had this conversation before many a times. Like, do you talk about it on the first date? When do you bring up finances? But when you're getting to know someone and you're serious, I think the sooner the better.
Okay. I mean, I actually agree with that. I think having conversations, especially if it's someone who's serious. Now, it's not like a first date, like, hey, how much do you make? Whatever. But if it's someone that you see yourself being interested in and you're trying to see, do our goals align? Because is one thing, and I know I'm kind of jumping ahead, he or she may make more money than him in the beginning, but does he have any goals or aspirations, or is he just happy where he is?
Mhm.
And where he is, they may be off financially. And again, if that's okay with her, then fine. And it vice versa. If that's okay with him, that's fine. So I just think that
It's funny. It's funny you said it's not on the first day. You're asking what you make. No, they saying, where do you work at? What do you do? And then they go Google. No, then it's like, let me get an estimate on Google. What's going on?
well,
Hey,
hey, Sir Hale speaks. He says, hey, at Bravo with Sheila Network. I hope you are doing well today. Good to see you.
good to
Hello.
see you too, sir. Thank you for being here.
T said, sad to say, but marriage is like a business. And I think it is to a point, right? Except that hopefully you love the person, but it is. It is because you have to figure out, how do we work together? And there is labor involved, right? And for a woman, it might be double labor, the actual labor of having a child, as well as the work of marriage. But if you have two people who are like minded working towards a goal, then they can accomplish it and they're partners. They are partners in this and they understand the roles that they play. So I do think it is
Mhm.
like business, but not to look at it from that standpoint of the exchange like a business, like what's the transaction? Are you going to do this versus that?
Mhm. Janelle is like, right. Janelle, they go on and Google. They don't even do all of that. Where you work at? How long you been there? All right, let me Google and get a little estimate going on. So
He says, hey, at Coach Pache, I hope you're doing well. It's good to see you and Dr. Elaine. The same,
good
sir.
to see you too. Thank you, Sir Hell.
Stephanie says she's laughing at Google. No lies detected. I mean, and you're in that information age, right? So you can find out more about a person.
Oh, look who's here.
Vaughn
Brother
says
Vaughn.
blessings all.
Blessing Vaughn's blessing. And I'm quite sure he will start up later, but that's another story.
Sir Hale, so he agrees. Marriage is a business. No person in their right mind starts a business to see it fail. If done right, it will last and leave a legacy of wealth in all aspects. Totally agree. I agree with that. Um,
Mhm.
so Terrence says this is why it's all contractual. and it's hard to get out of.
We gonna get there. You jumping ahead and you don't even know the lineup. Just keep going because we are here. We are going somewhere.
Reverend Janelle said partnership is key. Absolutely. And I think that goes back to we hear about being equally yoked. What does that look like? You know, are we on the same page? Are we going in the same direction? Do we want where the first thing I think when we're if we're dating or we're asking somebody like, where do you see yourself? And I don't if what you're saying doesn't kind of align where I see myself, then I already know we on two different this ship is not going to work. This relationship is not going to work because if you say I see myself retiring in Florida and he says I see myself retiring in Africa, how's that going to work?
Yeah, it's pretty much not.
Reginald says, "Aloha, beautiful ladies. I can't stay on long because I'm hard at work. I'm wishing y'all a blessed Martin Luther King Day. Thank you, and same to you."
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Vaughn says, "Hey, Pastor at Sir Hale Speaks."
Oh, they're chatting with each other. So let's just keep moving on. Let's just keep
So,
it going.
so we talk about financial independence. In Western cultures, the rise of financial independence in relationships highlights a shift towards equality. Couples often prioritize shared responsibilities over financial dependence. A dual income household where both partners contribute equally versus a single breadwinner dynamic. Does financial independence strengthen a relationship by reducing dependency, or does it diminish traditional romantic roles? What are your
Hmm.
thoughts?
I think it's two different things going on here because it says, does it financial independence strengthen relationships by reducing dependency? I would say that depends on the two people that's entering into that covenant relationship. Once they figure out who's responsible for what, whatever that looks like to them. Does it diminish traditional romantic roles? Um, Again, I would just say depending on that person, because if that person, one person is real traditional, for instance, I've encountered men that says, I'm paying all the bills because that's what they saw their father doing, right? That's a tradition. My wife can't work, my wife can't do this. That's not what I want for my wife. I want my wife to stay home for the kids. But if you turn around and then you have a wife and it's like, no, you can still take care of me, but I still want to work. And these kids gonna go to daycare and these kids, so it depends on the two how they want to work that out in a relationship. But let's before we go on.
Um, Janelle says, and that's where I took my ex two different
And
paths.
she's talking about what you were referring to a few minutes ago.
Um, Stephanie said, "That's it. If we aren't on the same page, then it's not going to work." Absolutely, and I think
Yeah.
you have to have the conversation. So whether it is a two I won't say parent, but a two income marriage or the traditional breadwinner, that is up to how the two people have that communication. What are we talking about? And those are things we need to talk about before we get married, because maybe she is okay with going to work and saying, okay, I like to do what I like to do versus I have to do it for money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
I mean,
that's good.
I'll use myself. When I was married, my ex-husband was the traditional quote unquote, he was the breadwinner, but I still worked. But I didn't work to, and I'm gonna use this term, I didn't work to pay bills, so to speak. I worked and I did something that I enjoyed and I made contributions to the house, but I was never like, oh my God, the mortgage is due. Oh my God, the lights gotta go. That was never my worry, but I was a contributor in a different way. And that was something
Mm-hmm.
that discussed beforehand. But if that's something that that person is not, whoever's in a relationship, then you have to be okay, because for us, we came from traditional where normally, well, we both had it where our mothers stayed home and the fathers worked. But I was like, I went to college. I want to make sure I'm going to use this degree
Mm-hmm.
for something.
Right. And I actually know somebody that got a divorce because of different paths, just like Janelle said, and Steph said, going separate ways. So I understand it. So hold on. Hey, Sharon.
Sharon said, "Hey, hello to you all. Hello, Sharon."
This one here.
She said, "Where are these? They out there. Where they out there? They somewhere."
That's right. Janelle said, listen, you talking about it. Where these men's be at? So we talked about that. So let's listen to something because I thought this was very interesting.
Is you shouldn't look for a man that's a provider. You should look for a generous man, right? Because if a man is a provider, he could be a multimillionaire, but he's not about to give it to you, and he's going to only have you around and spoil you with the money as long as it's beneficial to him. But a generous man won't just pass you money, but he'll pass you everything else you need: time, attention, etc., etc. So those things. So that generous man might just be a six physically, just might, right?
Then he better be
That's fine
funny
with
as
me.
hell.
I
So
totally
you agree, men? What you think? Because my co-host is going to say what she think, but men, what do y'all think? And anybody else, what do y'all think?
listen. I'm going to say, and I think that's something that people have to understand. There's a difference in having someone on either side with money, because you could have money that doesn't, and to his point, that doesn't mean that they're going to give it to you, but a generous man is going to give you more than money. He's going to help see what is that thing in you that you want to grow, because after a while you will, I don't care how much money it is, you will start to feel like a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you look good, I look good. As long as this is, it's still an I. It's not about you and your growth in the relationship. And it could be vice versa. If you had a woman who had the money and she wasn't, and she was just like, okay, I need you to wear this because I'm going here and you don't say this, because then it's not like you're not letting me be me. You want me to be
Mm-hmm.
who you're, which could feel like what you're paying me to be.
Contract.
Right. Um, Okay. Sir Hale says generous men are typically cheaters. Men who provide have a mindset of responsibility, and we're not just talking about providing money.
Oh, that's good, sir. Sir, I dropped the link. If you got a
Right.
minute or two, we could dive into that because that's good. And the point is again to get men's perspective on these things because we don't want women sitting around talking about men. Men, we don't want y'all sitting around talking about us. But that a generous men are typically cheaters. Any generous men in the chat? What? I just
You asking for a friend?
no, hold on, because Sir has said give him 4 minutes. You got 4 minutes because we're gonna get down into it. Break that down for us women up here.
Kathy said, "Good evening, everyone." Uh,
Good evening. Listen, I can't
and I
wait
guess,
for Sir.
yeah, when he comes, I just want to know: is there a difference because opposed to, like you said, a man with money, a generous man, and a provide? I believe he said a provider, a man who
Mm-hmm.
provides. So a man who provides versus a generous man. So if a man who is a provider, can he be a generous man, or is he
Uh-huh.
automatically a cheater? I mean, I'm just
Yeah,
curious.
right. Yeah, write your questions
Yeah,
down.
because
This
I'll
is gonna be
forget.
good. Yeah, write the questions down. He said give him 4 seconds. So we're gonna give you
4 minutes.
4 seconds.
4 minutes. We're gonna give him them
For
4 minutes.
4 minutes. Yeah, we're gonna give you the 4 minute. So now with that in the air, and we're waiting for they ready. Look. No, wait.
Stephanie says, "Let me get my popcorn ready."
You got 4 minutes, popcorn popping three.
She
Go
got
for it.
three now. She got three. Terrence says, "I think a lot of times a provider is a cheater too." So, okay, another
Like I
perspective
said,
from another man.
listen. I listen, y'all know what to do. Here's the link again.
Listen, and we
Talk
we
about
we
it.
want to learn. We want to learn. Lady Dawn,
Right.
hey family, happy Monday,
Hey,
happy
Lady Darby.
Monday.
Yeah. We
Listen,
need
get
to
the
be
pop
learning for the
right.
men.
Look, let me get my notebook out.
Right. Hold on, because this is about to get
Right.
juicy. And while they're coming on, I Another part of it is no. I think we should wait. Hold on, because I don't want to mix
Well,
it
you know
all
what? If
up.
you want to play the clip again, so that way when Sir Hill comes on, everybody's caught up
And
to.
everyone knows. Okay, so Sir Hale is coming on to address
Is
this.
you shouldn't look for a man that's a provider. You should look for a generous man, right? Because if a man is a provider, he could be a multimillionaire, but he's not about to give it to you, and he's going to only have you around and spoil you with the money as long as it's beneficial to him. But a generous man won't just pass you money, but he'll pass you everything else you need: time, attention, etc., etc. So those things. So that generous man might just be a 6 physically, just might, right?
Then he better be
That's fine
funny
with
as
me.
hell.
And that might be why he's generous, because he might be a 6. We don't know. So Sir Hale is coming on because this was his response to the clip. Generous men are typically cheaters. Men who provide have the mindset of responsibility. And we're not just talking about providing money. And T cosign, T said, I think a lot of times the provider is cheat too.
Right.
So
So
is the provider
he's
is cheat
saying
too. So
right. He's saying they all cheat, whether it's the generous man or the provider, that they
we
cheat
go
as well. So that's
yeah,
why
we
I'm
gonna need to figure that. Yeah, we gonna need to get into this. So men, we gonna wait for y'all to come up here. Steph, I hope your popcorn is popped. And you're sitting
and
there
we got our
like,
notebooks.
with anticipation, we have pens and notebook because we're gonna learn us something today from these men out here in these streets. So this is good. So in terms of that, the flip side of that is a question I have, right? Not a question I have. How about this?
Finances, because you guys kind of talked about it. What about your partner having a huge amount of debt and you ultimately inheriting it? And you're into a relationship now. It's time to talk about the finances. You're in love, but you find out your partner is $150,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Are you pursuing this relationship, or are we like, oh, might need to pull back early?
Yeah. No. Her debt is, so I could be with her, but her debt is her debt.
But if you were to ever marry her, it would be your debt
well,
too.
we don't get married to her debt is no longer.
That is it.
Right.
And let me tell you, I know a guy who literally was with a woman and they didn't get married for like 7 years until she rectified
No doubt.
the debt.
So again, what's love got to do with it? Because I can love you. What they say is I can love you, but I'm gonna wait for you to clear up that debt. Because what I'm not about to do is inherit all your debt. What's your thoughts?
I mean, I guess
She
it
need
all
a generous man. Just saying.
I mean, I do think having the conversation about finances early, again, not the first date, but when you two have established that we want to be together, we need to know. I need to know. Okay, do you rent your house? Do you own it? What does that look like? How many? Because you do. If you're coming together, and if we're going from a biblical perspective that the two are now becoming one, then we need to know, as these two, and I'm going to use the word kingdoms, are coming together to figure out how does this work. And we're also, I think, talking about age groups, right? Because the older you are, there are different things that you may have that someone who, let's say in their 20s, they meet, their debt looks different. So these conversations need to be had.
And I would say, ladies, think about it if it was vice versa. But right now, we got Sir Hill. Welcome, Sir Hill. Welcome, Sir Hill. We are ready. We have papers.
Teach
We
us
have
today,
pens.
sir. Teach us.
Teach us, Sir Hill. Steph got her popcorn. Thank you for being here because we be needing some men information over here. So what you got?
First of all, it
I'm
is good
ready.
to see you. It's good to see you, Coach Pache. It's good to see Dr. Elaine, Bravo with Sheila, into the illustrious chat. So I heard the clip and I thought it was interesting, but just as a man who has been with the same woman for 20 years, married going on 18 years with 4 children, and I'm a traditional man, I'm telling you, if a man is generous, a lot of generous men lack boundaries. So they're using their generosity as a way to dilute or to to numb you from actually looking at their character defects. So if he can afford and he can buy you and pay for you, you're so infatuated with his ability to give you stuff, and you think that his generosity is the same thing as being good character, and these are two different things. Whereas a provider is methodical. So when he provides for you, it is not because he's trying to pay for you. It is that you are now one with him. And his responsibility is to make sure that not only do you have a 24 karat gold chain, but that you've got insurance and that you don't do crazy stuff that's going to jeopardize your financial stability, right? So a man's ability to provide is not just the exchange of material things. He's not just thinking of providing for you with stuff. He's thinking about your mentality, your emotional health, your spirit. He's thinking about sometimes you want more because maybe you're greedy with stuff and you're materialistic. And so he'll provide boundaries to help you grow in areas where you are trying to accumulate things to make yourself feel good. This is what I'm saying. A provider is different from generosity. Generosity lacks accountability and responsibility because it has so much to give. Whereas a provider is methodical. It's about making sure you're protected, you're provided for, and that you're better.
I don't have a mic to drop, but I'll be on. Hold on 1 second. We need
Taking notes.
Yeah, okay. I don't even know where to start with all of that. Okay, so
So let me ask you a question. So can you see
Okay.
can you see where I'm coming from with that? Can you see how the generosity could be so overwhelming? This is where we get into the concept, and I know you talked about this, Coach Pache, love bombing. This is exactly what it looks like. I'm going to come in and I'm going to give you everything. So I'll pay for your hair, I'll pay for your nails. And now I've created a dependency on me. So your dependency on me looks like you love me. And it can't be love. Because what I've done is I've overwhelmed your senses with what I can give to you, so much so you can't even see me. You can't see if I've got good character because you're assessing who I am based off of how I just overwhelmed you with the ability to give you everything that you want. A real man is not about giving you what you want. A good man is about making you a better woman. And sometimes you want some things that contradict you from being the woman that you're supposed to be. So his job is not to come and placate to what you want and to how you feel about things. His number one job is that this is going to be my woman. She's going to be a better woman because I'm in her life. And sometimes making her better requires saying no. So he can't just be generous. He has to be a provider.
Wow. Wow. So that was okay. So hold on. In the chat, we got a boom.
Sharon said all we needed was one mic. Kathy says, wow. Okay.
Now let me explain this where this comes from. I am a core traditional man. Like my wife had 4 of my children. I bought her a house. She didn't have to lay it down for anything. That was my extension of love for her. But there has been a series of no's because I was at one point, because the culture teaches us men that if you love her, go take her to the most expensive restaurants and buy her these shoes and purses. A man could be so focused on making a woman feel good that he doesn't make her good. Those are different things. Until I learned how my leadership and my ability to speak to her spirit, like there are certain things that a person won't do that my leadership and love to her will. And so if I measure my masculinity by my money, then I'm a depreciating resource because money depreciates. But if I am a masculine man who loves her, then my job is not to be what depreciates. My job is to be what appreciates. So when I say I appreciate my wife, me appreciating her is not saying I appreciate you. In order to appreciate it means that the value of the thing that I'm appreciating goes up. So her value, it rises as a result of her being with me. And that doesn't come from generosity. That comes from me being a provider.
All right.
Can we super chat our own self? Can we super chat our own self on the show? Like, is that illegal? Because like Wow.
Stephanie says, I'm going to have to run this back several times. And I think that is so valuable because I'm going to speak for myself, never looked at it from that perspective. And I think, like you said, the love bombing, sometimes somebody could just give you, and it's flooding, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's providing all of these things, or at least his generosity. He's really generous in this area. But then the other part is, as a result of the relationship, am I a better person? And if you can't say that, then he was being more generous than being a provider. Is that right, Sir Hale?
Not only is that right, that is accurate. The flip side to this is now, Coach, please don't boot me off the show when I say this, okay? Please, chat, please don't throw stones, but I've got to give the other side to this. For a woman is irresponsible if she relies on a man's generousness. Like a woman who really cares about a man, she'll learn how to say, no, babe, I don't need that. Babe, you've done enough. And if she is a woman of character, she'll be able to determine whether or not that man is giving from a place of fear. He doesn't believe he's man enough to keep you. So where he lacks the capacity within himself as a man to keep you, let me hook her by things. If she is immature, her ego becomes inflated because now his level of generousness, it becomes the basis through which she's going to measure every other relationship. See, I had a man before who paid all my bills. And a man, he bought me all kind of jewelry. And her value is now inflated. There is a difference between inflation and growth. She did not grow. She has just become inflated. So this is why she goes into the next relationship demanding more things instead of demanding him to be more. So this generosity thing works two ways. It shows a lack of character in the man, and it can also reveal a lack of character in the woman. All right, now I'm gonna give it this last thing. So if you go to the book of Proverbs chapter 31, and everybody might not be religious, but it talks about the woman of noble character, right? The virtuous woman. And part of her character is she's not just a taker, she's a giver. So whether it be to her husband or to her handmaidens or to her servants or to her children, she is not overly reliant on the man giving her stuff. Come on, Dr. Elaine, I heard what you said earlier, that you got a degree, you're educated, right? So you have something that makes you valuable so that you are not somebody who is elite, or you're not just a consumer, you are a contributor. And so a woman who is a contributor doesn't define her relationship based off of what she gets. It's not just her input, it's her output too. She feels valuable based off her output. And this is why I say, if you just measure a man by his generosity, it deprives the woman of us seeing the innate gifts that God has given her, because she's overwhelmed, and we have dulled her ability to be the smart, intellectual, intelligent, capable woman that God called her to be. And then the man never gets to benefit. And he says all women are just takers. They all gold diggers. No, sir. You cannot provide gold and tell her to dig and then call her a gold digger.
Wow.
She's doing what you told her to do.
I found my gap. Order.
I the court. And I think
okay, hold on. Okay. I know you want to say something, but I just gotta say something before I forget. So do you think, in terms of what we're talking about, in terms of, what's the word? I'm so blown away right now. Manipulation on both parts, in terms of giving from the male's perspective and the woman's perspective of just taking. So it's kind of manipulation on both parts, because neither one of us is seeing each other clearly. You're giving, he's given. As long as he's given, I'm going to take. The generosity linked to manipulation. Is there a correlation there?
100%. Listen, I'm gonna limit myself because you can see I could go on for hours, so I'm gonna limit.
No. We don't
speak, sir.
Sir Hell.
So manipulation is it's the wrapping paper of insecurity. So you have to manipulate. This is about presentation. It is about the appearance to make what is in the wrapping paper appear to be something that it's not. So people who are manipulators feel like they lack the internal resources for them to be accepted for who they are. So yes, they have to be manipulative, because if I saw the real you, I probably wouldn't want to. So here go this car. Let's keep your focus on this car so you can't see my heart. Let's focus on the way that I look so you don't see my character. So let's be manipulative, and the only time we get a chance to see this is when these things no longer matter, and we just want time. And I want somebody to pray for me, and I want somebody to understand me without me having to go into this dissertation about the state of my spirit and mind. It's when you get to those moments where materials can't speak to my issues of the heart that I finally recognize that you are not the person I thought you were. While you were generous, you are not accurate in terms of being able to penetrate my heart in ways that matter to me the most. You see what I'm saying? Low moments will tell you who the person really is. So I cannot say as a husband that I provide for my wife, yet when she is going through a spiritual battle that she might not have put words to, I have not studied her long enough to understand that there's a little tick, there's a little temperamentalness, or attitude is off, and I have paid close enough attention that if I can't hear her words, I can perceive her body language to see that what's going to fix this is not flowers. She needs some faith. That what's going to soothe her broken heart is not a box of candy. It is some careful attention, because I'm devoted, and I don't just provide from her from the generosity, from the abundance of what I have, but this is care, which means that if this requires me to sacrifice some things to make sure that that woman is okay, that's what a provider does. See, you don't get to see this if I just have an abundance of stuff. You get to see a man's care if he's willing to sacrifice for you. If your man is willing to go without to make sure you go with, the fact that he makes sure that you'll win and your win is his win, that's what providers do. And you don't get a chance to see this if we're just dishing out stuff. You get a chance to see who they are when you're at your low. What happens when you don't feel beautiful today? Like, you don't feel beautiful, and it doesn't have anything to do with your looks. Your hair is laid, you got your nice makeup on, you've been to the Mac store, you know what I'm saying? You got your nice dress on, you got the French manicure, the toes are popping. I mean, you got the shapewear. I mean, you look, but there was something about you, because maybe you feel like you've gotten older, or you know, your children have they're getting older, and the way you see yourself has just changed. It's not the look that you are afraid of or that's changing, it's hormonal changes. Right? It's am I still attractive to this man? Do I still got it? Am I still approachable? Do he like me? If a man is not a provider, he doesn't look at those things because he's got you focused on other things. And then let's take this a little bit deeper. This is where women are more likely or prone to cheat. They will go find somebody who does not have the ability to provide and be generous. He doesn't have the same size of a house. He doesn't have the nice car. But one thing that man does, and it is not right, but he paid her attention. Because in your low moments, it is not the giving of things that shows you a person's character. It is the time and the attentiveness that shows you that this person is really about you. And that's the kind of provider that every woman, I hope that they get, and they don't become so enamored with what a man can give them that they can't see that he's really, really into you.
Wow. That was excellent. Well, first, I know I'm going to speak for myself and some of the ladies. Do you know any available men who fit that description? Send my way. But with that being said, I was going to say with the whole thing, like in the Bible, when it talks about know them that labor among you. And I think oftentimes, and I've said this on the show, we always think about that when somebody's preaching or whatever, but marriage is labor. And if you know the person, you actually know when something's just off. It could be something as simple as you pick up the phone and you're like, hey, and you're like, what's the matter? Because you know that person doesn't sound right. That person, you know, your significant other, there's something going on, and maybe they can't speak about it in that moment, but having that partner that has the ability to pray for you or say something or make you feel special, and it doesn't require going to the mall, or it doesn't require, it's not that, or just coming home to just be able to lay your head on that person's chest and feel safe. Because I think that's one of the things, if I had to speak, for women, want to feel safe. So after the trips are gone, after the cars, all of that, because after a while, gifts are like, I mean, you like them, right? But after a while, you come to a point where you're like, all right, this is not enough. Because to your point, when you're in that low point, or when you just feel like the world, or you're going through perimenopause, you're just going through life, is that person going to get you? And is that person going to be there to hear you and to understand you? And even sometimes whatever you may be saying may not make absolutely no sense to that person, but they're willing to listen and be like, I don't know what she's saying, but I'm going to listen, and I'm going to be attentive to her needs. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and that's good. I'm gonna say we're gonna go to the because the people out here talking Sir Hell, and then I'm gonna say something. We going, yeah, we gonna spin the block and come back.
Sharon said, great breakdown of what love's got to do with it. Truth being told,
Yes,
I
we letting
declare,
Sir Hell cook tonight. Sir
yeah.
Hell is cooking tonight. We letting him cook in the kitchen.
Stephanie said, mic dropped. Absolutely. Janelle says, God has spoken. Let the church say amen. Yes, Reverend Janelle.
Yes.
Sharon says, Sir Hale, men gonna be mad with you exploiting manhood and man cave.
He's a man, so it doesn't matter. He's not afraid.
Bravo with Sheila says, Sir Hale, thank you for gracing the Bravo platform again. Much love.
Yes, yes, yes.
Kathy said, yes, the exposure. Sharon said, come on now, speak, Sir Hale. Kathy says, speak, sir.
Speak, sir. So, what I wanted to say in terms of marriage, and I've never been married, and I don't even think that has anything to do with it. But I think, and Sir, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and co-host, you can correct me if I'm wrong too. I think where people miss it is that they miss that marriage is a service. It's not about what I can get. It's a covenant relationship. It's about serving the other partner. And I think a lot of times singles miss it because they go into marriage thinking, take it, and I'll give when I want to. Marriage is no longer about you, it's about the other person. And to the point you made earlier, Sir Hill, making your partner better both ways. As a husband, how can I push my wife? As a wife, how can I pray and cover my husband? And those unspoken words when you come home, something is off, even what's wrong, nothing. No, you don't want to talk about it right now, but let's put it on the books, or we're going to put a pin in it, but we're going to talk about what's bothering you. And that's even unspoken words. So I think, and like I said, y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, people miss that marriage is a service and everybody's not supposed to be married. If you're a selfish person, I recommend you not get married.
I mean, I would just jump in and say marriage is dying to self, right? It's no longer about, and when I say what you, it's like, how do I best serve you? And I think when that happens in the correct way, and I'm gonna use the word competition, but that's not the word I really, it's a competition of how can we outlove each other, not in a negative, from a negative perspective, but you look at the person and you say, wow, because of you, my life is better. And the other person's, but because of you. And it's that mirror image. It's that person sees what you don't see. And then that person has what you don't have to help cover you. Because, he could be great at, and I'm just using, he's great at finances, but she's great at, I don't know, I can't think of anything right now, but
spending the money.
Well, but even to that, okay, maybe she is great at spending, he's great at saving, but he knows when to say no. Like, no, we can't do it. We're going to buckle down now. And she has to respect that's his strong suit. So I'm going to respect that. And it's not having your way on both sides all the time. It's willing to compromise and what is for the good of the house. And then when you bring in children, that's just a whole nother dynamic. But I do think it's about dying to self and not losing yourself, but dying to your own selfishness of, Well, I don't have to tell him where I'm going. I'm grown. No, you do need to tell him where you're going, because if something happened, you'd be like, where was my husband? Why he didn't protect me? Because you didn't want to tell nobody where you were going. So I think that aspect of dying to self is important when you think about marriage.
So what's your thoughts on that, Sir Health, in terms of marriage as service?
So Chick-fil-A is one of those places that I really like. And I don't eat a whole lot of food outside. I don't do that, but I like it. There is such a greatly organized. Uh, they have such an organized system that they are able to operate for 6 days and then completely be closed on day 7 on Sundays. And there are other companies who sell chicken as well that they're open around the clock. What makes Chick-fil-A great is not just the ingredients of the chicken. Right? We go get chicken anywhere. It is the fact that their customer service makes it so welcoming that the volume of clients that they get through the week gives them a day to have some rest. If we approached marriage this way, and our goal was not that we the only one selling chicken, we the only one who can do the only one with a good job, but our motto was customer service, how much more restful that peace would marriages be if we did so good in 6 days? We did so good. Customer service was so great for 6 days. We were able to chill on the 6th day, on the 7th day. I think that if we don't approach this model of marriage from the perspective that it is indeed of service, so it is not you rub my feet, I rub your feet. It is not you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Service is more so. I have prayed about this. Woman, I done prayed about you. So I've got direct instructions on who I'm supposed to be in your life. And I'm going to spend these 6 days with such great customers. Listen, I'm going to be so good to you that when you're off, I'm going to still be on, because I cannot change my assignment to you. It can't be predicated on what you're giving to me or not, because that's not good customer service. I have to learn how to do a good job at serving my customers, even when that customer comes in with a bad attitude. I cannot risk my job performance because the person I'm serving is having a bad day. What if we treated marriage this way? Well, I don't judge the quality of my service because you came in a bit rude today. What if instead my service was so strong, I forced you to examine your own behavior because I become your mirror? You will not allow me to outserve you, so you would check that bad attitude and then you'll match my service. This is what I'm saying. Until marriage becomes like this, where we're not just simply performing so I can say I did this for you, but I'm doing this because I'm trying to make your life better. I want to see you smile. I want to see your heart glad. I want to see you fulfilled. I want to see you satisfied. It may be a different segment. I want to see you satisfied. If we treated it this way and we came from that approach, I truly believe that the divorce rate, I think it will. I'm talking about we'll see marriages climbing, and we're not talking about people who just didn't get a divorce. We're talking about people who are happily married. I think that this would change, but we get into it as you said, Coach Pache. What can I get out of this? And it's in so long, people be like, I'm ready to divorce. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe after 20 years. Well, if you've got 20 years worth of withdrawals and 10 years worth of deposits, they're not divorcing you because they don't love you. They're loving you because they've been in a deficit for 10 years and you've been spending time investing in your church and in your career and in your family and in your friendships, and you've been taking the resources from your account, your wife or your husband, and giving it to other people, and now y'all been in the negative for 10 years, and you think that they just divorced you because they just wanted to. They're empty. What do you expect them to do? 20 more years of this? You see what I'm saying? So it has to be of service. And if it's not that way, then people are going to stick around and stay married and not be happy. And the marriage won't be beneficial to kids because this generation, they're not accepting how we did it before. They're like, I would rather stay single till I'm 30 something and then go 50-50 with somebody else, because we're not doing that. So a long story, you guys can tell I've got a little Baptist in me. Long story short is I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, and it's good because it goes back to what we were talking about last week in terms of relationships being transactional.
Mhm. So Bravo with Sheila says, help us get to 1,000 subscribers. We are short 46 subscribers. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you. So come on, let's do what we know to do.
Yeah. But yeah, it becomes transactional. And there's two things I wrote down 'cause I'm taking notes. And I'm quite sure I'm not the only one going. I'm gonna have to watch this again and do some homework and make some bullet points because it's a lot to digest, a lot of good stuff. So I like when you said make her heart glad. Because how many times do people really focus on the heart? So that means that person is really in tune. Like, no, I want to make her heart. I just don't want to see her smile. I just don't want to hear her laugh. I want to make her heart glad. And she knows that I'm the person that can do that. So I think that was very, very profound. The other thing, now this is y'all don't judge me out here. I'm gonna need some help in this area. And you said something in the beginning about telling her no. How do you get to, how do I get to that point where I can accept the no? Because I'm not used to no's. And in terms of for me being by myself for the period I have, I'm able to do what I want to do when I feel like it. And I know that all has to change. But even when I was in long-term relationships, I don't know, I don't do well with in O in the exclamation. Because I'm spoiled. And y'all don't judge me out there. So Sir Hell, help me out. How do I get used to the no? You don't laugh at me. I'm being serious right now. Help a sister out.
You know what? It's such a good question. It's such a good question. So I can't answer this for you. I can tell you from the man side. So, a
Okay, that's
man,
what I'm.
a man who respects himself has no problem telling you no, because again, remember he's providing. When you're okay, do we have all have children up here?
Yes.
So have you ever had to, you had to think about 3 months down the line. You kind of knew, graduations coming up or school performances, they got band, they got, summer programs, they need new shoes, doctor's appointment, glasses. So you already know your no is not in the moment. Your no is in the grand scheme of all this other stuff that you're planning. So when a man says no, it's typically not no in this little bitty moment. When a provider done scoped out the whole entire year, and he recognizes that one no in this moment might lead to 9 yeses. And if you are immature as is a woman, you will go ahead and force him to say yes to you. And that one yes, when it should have been no, can stop the other nine, the other 9 yeses, because you didn't have the discipline to hear no. So you for the ladies are turned on the charm. I know how to get this man to say yes. I know exactly what to do to make this man say. Like you so do that, and he ends up giving in, because a lot of men, unless they have lived life long enough and they know how to say no, and they're not threatened with you leaving, or they're not intimidated with your attitude, or the fact that you can talk, and you can talk about, I'll cook your dinner, and I cook your dinner, and I make you feel good, and I wash your clothes, and I'm there for you. And when you want to do something with you, I don't say nothing to you, but now I won't. Right? If he's overwhelmed by this, he's gonna give in. But you get a man who's stable, he'll hear you. He gonna take it all in, and the answer is still gonna be no, because this one no is just this moment. There's a whole lot of other yeses he's planning on, and he needs you to sacrifice this because he's got some bigger things that he wants to do. Isn't that how God does us? Like, we want him to say yes to certain things, and then your yes, it feels what you want now. And like, God's like, I got bigger things in store for you. If you could take this no, I promise you, you're going to appreciate this no now because of what I have in store for you. Is it the nature of man comes from the nature of God. So as women, if a man tells you no, he loves you. I'm gonna give you that nugget. Any man who loves you will tell you no because he cares about you. Anytime a man just tells you yes for everything, it means he is irresponsible with himself. And as a consequence, he's irresponsible with you.
I just want
Well,
to make sure.
I know co-host has she got something to say, but you no, you help me out. You bless my entire soul. I get it. Bigger picture.
Right. No, I just wanted to make sure everybody heard that he said if he says no, he says yes to other things and he happens to say no. So I don't want people to be like, oh, if he says no, he loves me. No, hear that part. He says yes to some things before you get to the no. The other thing I was thinking about, that something you said about that man prays about her, to know, and I'll use the word that he is or she is his assignment, right? She is the one. So I think a lot of times what happens is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, we get into relationships or maybe meant like, okay, she looks good, but she's not the one. I always say, nice looking women are a dime a dozen. Stand outside long enough, you'll see at least 10 of them pass you by. But is it the one that fits where you're going, that fits your purpose, that fits your future? Is the difference, opposed to saying, even to the clip, she might be a 6, but her help of where she can help you go with your dreams and your vision is a 10, where you may have a 10, but she can't help you because she has no clue or no interest. She's just interested in your yeses. What are your thoughts?
Okay, I gotta go because this is getting too good. So, um, I think that the metric system we use to evaluate sixes and tens needs to be expanded. So whenever we say 10, we know we're talking about looks. Like we know we're talking about looks when we talk about 10. But I think that this metric is why so many women are superficial and why so many men are irresponsible, because our metric system speaks about looks. Like, let's just let's get real for 2 seconds. We're not going to always be fine. You ain't, I don't care how beautiful she is, I don't care how handsome he is. You're not going to always look that way. So how about being 10 in character, 10 in peacefulness, 10 in agreeableness, 10 in with your prayer life, 10 in your faith? If we subject a woman to her looks, then you become objectified. And this is where you become insecure, because there's going to be somebody else a little bit younger who looks like you used to look. So a man is not a man who is a provider is not just her outward look. Now you got to be fine. Now you got to have the nails done. You got to do that right. You got to have the hair laid. It's just certain things we like. But beyond that, what's your thinking like? Like what's your ability to be peaceful? Like women who know how to have a conversation and it's back and forth. A woman who knows this gonna be big. Ladies on here, don't y'all throw me off now. Don't y'all boot me. Does she know how to bite her tongue? A well-spoken woman who looks like a 6 becomes a 9 or 10 if her attitude, her character, her demeanor, her presence is soft, because that version of who that woman is in that moment becomes locked into that man, and she'll forever be that way in his head. So she get wrinkles, her body could change, but that image of who she is, because it is her essence, not just her presence, that's locked into his head. She'll forever be that, and it's not just derived from how she looks outwardly, it is who she is inwardly. So looks do matter, but we've got to expand this metric system, because it's a whole lot of 10s who are also zeros in other areas.
That's good. I mean, we could just go home at this point. Now, I mean, Tara said, uh-oh.
Yep, you're mute.
I knew that. Terry, that's him talking to me about asking about the no.
And Janelle said, no judgment. I'm still trying to get used to the no.
Well, I hope that helped you out, because it helped me out a whole lot, and that's what this platform is about. So, sir, hell yeah. I mean, I don't even think there's anything else to
Well,
say.
I've taken up way too much of your time. I
No,
appreciate
you
that.
haven't. No,
No,
you have not.
this is good.
We love
We want you to
every
come
minute.
back.
I really appreciate
Right.
y'all letting me on. I got to step away. Listen, it was really great talking to you. Really, really great. And I'll
Thank
look
you.
forward to tuning in again soon.
Yes,
Thank
thank you.
All
you.
right,
Thank
y'all.
you so
All right, peace.
much. Bye. Oh my gosh, such wisdom. Wow. Just came
Absolutely.
on, dropped the mic. I absolutely loved it.
Trudy says, you're teaching, sir. Kathy said, absolutely. 10 in attitude, 10 in character. Absolutely her and him. Stephanie says, well, all righty then. See, Steph, it was worth the popcorn.
Yep.
Reverend Janelle said, I have been delivered. You're not
We've
alone.
been to
Not alone.
listen, we've been delivered together. And I saw my co-host when I asked the question, shoot, yeah, I had to get it out. Just total transparency.
Sharon said, thank you, Sir Hale and ladies, sweet dreams. Sharon said, I'm going to bed now. Reverend Janelle said, thank you, sir. Yeah, that was good. That was really good.
Listen, that was some good, insightful, enlightful information. Like he just blessed our entire soul. So listen, I'm gonna go back and do some homework. I suggest you do the same because it was a lot to digest, and we can sleep on it. But thank you for being here Mondays Beyond the Mic. This was an excellent, fabulous Monday on What's Love Got to Do with It. Again, thank you, Sir Hell, for gracing the platform and sharing your wisdom. And as always, there's more in you, Girls Inc. Co-host.
Right.
Take it away.
No,
You want to say
listen, all
something?
I have is, he said, what's love got to do with it? Everything. And understand the difference between generous and a provider. So now I'm like, Lord, send the provider.
Right. And good night from HG.
All I do is try to construe this life.